Hey guys, I'm Katrina and I'm coming to you with a couple of my dessert recipes. I lost 40 pounds within 4 months and I have been able to maintain that weight loss. One of my problems before I ended up figuring out what worked for me with food was that I would eat sweets or pastries or donuts and cookies at the end of the night before bed. Sometimes I just need that sweet treat, that little, I just get a craving for sugar. So I found these two recipes and I'm going to show you how to make those today. So if you want to see them, stick around. Okay, so this first recipe is my white chocolate chip granola, and you only need 7 ingredients. So I'm going to show you which ingredients you need. First, you'll use old-fashioned oats. You also need salt. It just kind of brings the sweetness out a little bit. I switched between sea salt and my Celtic salt. So it really is up to you. I'm going to use sea salt today because I'm also going to use it in my other recipe. So sea salt. We'll warm up over the stove in a saucepan. Coconut oil. This is organic coconut oil, expeller pressed refined. I get this from Amazon fresh, but I've seen it everywhere. So get yourself some coconut oil. This is pure maple syrup. This one I got from Costco, but you want to make sure to look at the ingredients and make sure it's pure maple syrup. And brown sugar. Here I have light brown sugar, but I think I prefer it with the dark brown sugar. So I'm gonna use light because that's what I have, but brown sugar. I use pumpkin seeds, but if you don't want pumpkin seeds, you could probably chop up almonds, like raw, unsalted almonds, or you can use chopped up pecans or chopped up walnuts if you want. But I'm going to use these pumpkin seeds. These are unroasted and unsalted. And then the last ingredient are these white baking chips. It actually says non-chocolate. White baking chips is what I use. So I like those. But you could also use milk chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate, dark chocolate. And I'm going to use coconut oil spray. So to start, I have an 8x8 glass pan. And what I'm going to do is put the parchment in there. I'm going to actually scrunch it up first. I saw this on an Instagram post and it works. It actually helps form to the bowl a little bit better. And I'm going to spray it with coconut oil spray. I got this from Trader Joe's. Spray that. Okay, so I put it in there. It's ready to go. I'm going to tuck that to the side. So next, what we need to do is I'm going to get a bowl to mix our dry ingredients. And what I'm going to do is add in 2 cups of my old-fashioned oats. There's 1. And 2. And we're done with our oats. Next, we're going to add our salt. And you're going to pour out a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. One-quarter teaspoon. Add a little bit more if you want a little bit more saltiness to it. I'm going to mix that. Set it. Set that aside, and then what we're going to want to do is melt our coconut oil first. So I have the coconut oil here, and we're going to use 3 tablespoons. So the way that I do it is I'll just take a regular spoon, spoon it into my tablespoon, kind of level it out, and then take the back of the spoon and just kind of scoop it out. So I'm going to do that 3 times. Do you want to see it up close? I can show you up close. Hang on. 2 tablespoons in here. Spoon it in, level it out, scoop it out right here, and put it right in the bowl. One more time. So it was 3 tablespoons. The back of the spoon and spoon it out there. Now I'm going to warm it over the stove. Go ahead and add a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and a 1/3 cup of that pure maple syrup. So I'm going to go get that ready. So the coconut oil was dissolved. I added in the brown sugar and the maple syrup. So I'm just going to wait until the brown sugar is fully dissolved. Okay, I feel good about that. I'm going to turn off the heat. And then I'm just going to pour in vanilla, but if you wanted to measure it, it would be about a teaspoon. So I realized I did not mention vanilla earlier when I listed out the ingredients, but this is optional. I choose to use vanilla because I think it enhances the flavor, but this is up to you. And we're going to incorporate this into our dry ingredients. So I'm going to take you back over there. So I have my wet ingredients here. Again, this was the coconut oil, brown sugar, the maple syrup, and the vanilla. And I'm just going to pour it right into my oats and salt. I will mix this pretty good until the syrup mixture gets fully incorporated. Now this recipe isn't like a very hard, like stiff recipe. It kind of crumbles a little bit. So some of it you could probably break off into bars. Some of it you probably have to spoon, or you can add it to like a yogurt or an ice cream. I don't mind just spooning it out though. I think it's still good. Okay, now you'll want to add a 1/4 cup of your nut of choice or seeds. I was going to use these pumpkin seeds. So I have a 1/4 cup of these pumpkin seeds. I'll just throw in there. And then you'll mix those in. Now the mixture is pretty warm because we just took the syrup out of the pan. You can wait until it cools down a little bit and then incorporate your white chips, your white baking chips, and then you'll have whole pieces in there, or you can go ahead and throw it in now and it'll melt down and it'll be incorporated a little bit more into the mixture itself. So that's what I prefer to do, because then you get a little bit more of the melted white baking chips in your bites. But I've done it both ways and both are fine too. I'm going to measure out a little less than a 1/2 cup. So I found that a 1/2 cup is quite a bit. So I'm going to do 1/4 cup and then like half of that. And then I'll mix that up. You'll notice that it kind of melts in there, and that's totally cool. That's what we want. All right, I'm going to bring our pan back and I'm going to scoop it right into the center. take the back of the spoon, kind of try and push it down as much as you can. You can use your fingers too. Again, this is a crumbly mixture, so it's okay that it won't stay. But I will say that when you melt down the baking chips, for it to melt into it, it does tend to form better and make it less crumbly. What I'm gonna do is put this in the refrigerator probably for 15 minutes. When I take it out, I'm going to pop this out and tuck it into a Ziploc, and that's how I eat it. It's really up to you. You can crumble it into a Ziploc if you want, but I kind of just pull it from the fridge as I want it. So that's our first recipe. I'm gonna bring it back out and I'll show you once it's cool. Okay, and for the second recipe, we are doing an almond butter cookie. And these cookies aren't very dense. In fact, they're very thin and can break really easily, but they have a great flavor. They have minimal ingredients, so they're pretty easy to make, and they only take about 11 minutes to bake. Almond butter, that's going to be your main ingredient. And then you have pure maple syrup, that's what I use. Sea salt again, and does not call for brown sugar. Oil, baking chips, again, the white baking chips, and vanilla. That's really all that you need. I'm going to start. Oh, also, I have a baking sheet here with parchment paper. You'll need a microwave for this recipe. So I'm going to microwave 2 tablespoons of coconut oil in here. You could use any glass dish. I just happen to have a measuring cup for my glass dish. You'll want to preheat your oven. These will be baked at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You'll want to microwave your coconut oil for about 15 to 20 seconds until the coconut oil melts down. Okay, so it's clear. There's no more coconut oil chunks left in the cup. It took 40 seconds, if you're wondering. So now we're going to add our almond butter, and I am using no added sugar or salt. This is the Bare Smooth almond butter. So I am going to scoop into my half cup. So this is kind of what it looks like. I just jammed it in there. Now I'm going to pour it into my coconut oil. And I'm going to show you a close-up for the other ingredients. Okay, so we have the almond butter here. We're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of our sea salt, sea salt. 1/4 teaspoon. And then we'll also add 3 tablespoons of our pure maple syrup. 1, 2. This is going to give us our sweetness. Also 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I don't usually measure my vanilla. I'm just going to pour. You got to work at it a little bit. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Almost there. Still see some thickness. And that is what we're looking for in a texture. Bring my sheet pan back, and I'm just going to create little dollops. Okay. These will flatten out to be my cookies. Make them as big or small as you want. They will all thin out eventually. I tend to get maybe 8 or 9 out of it whenever I make them. And then I will add in our white baking chips. And I'll probably put like 4 on each, 4 or 5. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the oven for about 11 minutes and we'll see what it looks like. And then my cookies were done. You can kind of see a little bit of golden brown at the bottom, and that's when you know it's done. So it only took 11 minutes, and when they cool fully, I'm going to take a spatula, kind of scoop them out, put them onto a plate, and then I'm going to also wrap that tightly and refrigerate that. And that's really it. I hope you guys like these dessert ideas. And if you give it a try, let me know. But thanks for being here. If you want to see more videos, give this a like, give me a follow, and I hope to see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.